the person responsible for emergency management in the state, working with the commissioner of DESP, and my partners both at my agency, state police and others, and so many other state agencies and municipalities, municipal officials. I particularly want to give a shout out to Chief Pelletier here in Oxford. He's the emergency management director, and in emergency response, it's the emergency management director who is the point of contact for everybody in that town. So we very much want to thank him, and I want to thank our Demas Region 5 coordinator, John Field, who has been fielding calls from agencies and municipalities over the last 24 to 48 hours. From the emergency management perspective, we activated the enhanced monitoring of the State Emergency Operations Center as of 5 o'clock yesterday. We have been working round the clock, answering any requests for state resources from municipal emergency management folks. As you well know, we are seeing many areas of need, and we continue to answer any requests that come in. That's the response side of it, if you will. We are talking about rainfall in some areas in the 1,000-year level. So we're talking anywhere from 25-year level, 100-year level, 500-year level, up to 1,000-year level. So it's really historic, unprecedented flooding. With that being said, our next step is recovery. And so we are already working with municipalities and our state agencies and our federal partners to determine whether or not we can ask for some federal assistance, whether it's federal highway assistance, FEMA assistance, or even the SBA. So that's at a very, very preliminary stage because we are still working to do the response part of things. But we are working for that very diligently, and we'll have more to follow on that as well. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Colonel Lockman of the Connecticut State Police.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Colonel Daniel Lockman, Commanding Officer of the State Police, and I'd like to provide you an update with the flooding that occurred within the state, specifically the town under Connecticut State Police jurisdiction that received the most impact, which was Oxford. The rainfall caused significant flooding and has resulted in both loss of life, damage to property, and has impacted the towns with a substantial number of road closures. Last night, the Connecticut State Police assisted with assets and in personnel in the rescue efforts to extract those who were stranded in Kettletown State Park, as well as Jackson Cove on Lake Zor. The only access to rescue was by boat. The efforts were successful, and they were evacuated to a shelter in Southbury. Yesterday, it was reported that 2 women were swept away by floodwaters in the town of Oxford. 2 individuals have been located today, and it is believed that the recoveries were of the individuals witnessed and reportedly swept away by floodwaters. At this difficult time, our thoughts were with the family of the deceased. I want to assure you that the State Police remains on scene as this remains an active and ongoing incident. Our canine search and rescue teams and a drone team are staged in the town of Oxford, and we are ready to help with the search and recovery efforts. Our aviation unit believes that there's a window this afternoon that they'll be able to get up in the air, and they will also be assisting. Oxford PD is operationally closed due to flooding. The building was successfully evacuated yesterday with no known injuries. Operations for Oxford PD have shifted to Troop A in Southbury. Any routine calls should be directed to Troop A at 203-267-2200. All emergency calls will still go to 911. Again, all emergency calls 911. State Police urge all motorists to check road conditions before driving to their destinations. Motorists should not drive over water or in roadways that are closed due to the water. Turn around and do not drown. I ask that everyone avoid the area if at all possible. And I'd like to thank our brother and sister partners at Demas, the local fire departments, local and municipal police departments, DOT, and the utility companies, among others. Any additional information will be released at cspnews.org. Thank you, and that's all the information I can share at this time. I'd like to introduce the Commissioner of the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection, Commissioner Ronell Higgins.
Thank you, Colonel. Good afternoon, everyone. As you've heard from both our state emergency management and Colonel Lockman of the Connecticut State Police, we have been and continue to work around the clock to make sure that resources are deployed. We are in constant communication with all of our partners at the local, state, and federal level. As you heard Deputy Commissioner Bergeron share, we are working with them closely on going from response to recovery. We know that working together is crucial, and that's what we do in this state. We work together with our partners all over the state on the local, the state, and the federal levels. I want to say I'm grateful for the partnerships of our emergency management teams. John Field, who's been doing an amazing job fielding calls around the clock. They have slept very little, very little. I also want to give a shout out to our first responders who supported those community members in the town of Oxford over the last 24 hours in their time of need. I just want to say that we will continue to work with all of our partners, as I said before, and as you've heard, on the federal, the state, and the local level, to make sure that we have a well thought out recovery stage. At this point in time, I'm going to bring up our Senator Blumenthal for remarks. Oh, okay.
I think we could have
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Ucalito.
Was it Commissioner Ucalito?
Yes.
Commissioner. Okay, sorry about that.
Thank you.
My name is Garrett Ucalito. I'm the Commissioner of Connecticut Department of Transportation. Just a quick update from our side. So just on the state road side, as of this moment, we have 27 reported closures of state roadways. That number may increase or decrease at any moment. So I encourage the public to check ctroads.org. That is where we constantly are updating the status of our state roadways. That does not include local roadways that may also be closed. I do want to thank our partner first responders as well as our partner local DPWs have been working all night to try and secure our infrastructure. A few important points is if there are cones or barrels or caution tape up, I strongly am encouraging everyone to adhere to those signs. Do not cross those roadways. You don't necessarily know what is underneath the pavement. The pavement could have been undermined. The bridges could have been impacted by scouring. That caution tape and those barrels are up for a reason. The other important point is that there may be future closures that we identify as we are spending today inspecting everything. We've had several hundred crews out there looking at all of our infrastructure, inspecting above and below the surface of the roadway and the bridges to see what we may or may not be able to find. As water continues to move down our water courses, debris is in the waterways. That may clog our culverts and bridges, so that may also end up impacting more infrastructure. We're hopeful that is not the case, but it's just because today you may have passed over it, tomorrow it may end up being closed, so pay attention to those barrels and cones and caution tape. The other important thing is it's going to be a long recovery, so I know I'm going to be asked when we're going to open certain roads, and I am honestly saying we don't know. We need to fully inspect every single bridge that has been impacted and the pavement that has been impacted. And until we do that inspection, until we talk to our contractors, we do not know when those bridges or roadways will be reopened. So I'm asking for everyone's patience, and please be safe and avoid passing through those areas. Thank you.
Good morning. Katie Dykes here, Commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. I want to provide an update on a few of the different operational impacts associated with DEEP's programs. First and foremost, yesterday, I can share